There's a thing about your films, though, that I think, like, I keep getting back to this, but because you did go over there, it's almost like in your films, like, you have something you have to tell people. But it's like you have to give them medicine, but you got to give it to them in sugar.
I don't think of it that way. I take thorny subjects.
Yeah.
But they're entertaining, too,
Yes.
because I want to know what happens next. Like you, I think you have an interest in... So even political matters can be fascinating.
Yes.
Who else would do Nixon's life?
Right.
I mean, come on. He was not the most popular guy.
No, he's an odd man.
For me, it was a challenge.
Yeah.
Same thing with the JFK murder. I mean, it was so gnarly.
That one's extra complex, right? Because you took some liberties there to try to move the plot along.
Yeah, but liberties in the spirit of the I didn't violate the truth that I saw in this. I mean, I had to combine characters and so forth.
That is a complex story. The story of JFK's assassination is very complex because I can learn a lot from a person in what their opinion is. Like, what do you think happened? Oh, Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone. You get these very specific character types where these people have these predetermined patterns that they plug into.
Sure.
And the Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone is one of the weirder ones.
Yeah, sure.
That is one of the weirdest arguments. And when I talk to them about the magic bullet, like, and they go, well, that's actually been proven that can happen. I mean, that drives me nuts.
Yeah, sure.
Because I'm a guy who shoots guns. I'm a hunter. Yeah. And I know what happens when bullets hit bones. It doesn't ever come out like that, ever.
And also, I think it was a hell of a shot.
Well, the hell of a shot can happen. I don't think it's that bad of I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think that's overstated. There's many things that are overstated. One of the things that's overstated is the scope was off. People always say, well, the scope was off. Well, fucking anything can knock a scope off. You can drop a gun in the evidence room and the scope's off. That's nonsense. That's people who don't understand guns. Yeah. But the bullet hitting those two people and finding its way onto Connolly's gurney magically with very little distortion in the bullet at all is straight up horseshit. Yep. And the fact that still gets touted as being, well, this is actually how it could have happened, and weird things happen with bullets. Sure, weird things happen with bullets, but one weird thing that never happens with bullets is when they hit bone and shatter bone, they always distort. Yeah. Always.
Yeah, I'm making it. I've made a documentary. It's almost finished. About we went back to the case again, taking all the information from the Assassination Records Review Board that came out of the film. They passed an act, the JFK Act. Congress did. It was amazing, and they allowed the board to exist for 5 years, and they went through a lot of detail. They weren't out to prove anything, but they found a lot of little detail that we put into this documentary, which I think you'll love.
I'm sure I'll love it.
It goes into CE 399, the bullet, but it also goes into so much else on the autopsy that's screwed up.
The two autopsies, the one in Bethesda and also the one in Dallas.
There was none in Dallas.
Well, they did some examinations of what happened to him in examinations in Dallas.
Everybody saw a huge gaping wound in the rear right of Mr. Kennedy's head. Yeah. And that was covered up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was also the reason why they needed to make that magic bullet work. The guy who got hit under the underpass.
Yeah.
It was just
I know I could see your enthusiasm on this.
Deep.
Yeah. And also, come on. I mean, if you're an infantryman, you can't fire 3 shots like that. Why aren't you not firing at him when he's coming towards you? If you're serious,
it's very unlikely, but possible. I mean, it can be done. The shot can be done, but that's one of the least ridiculous things about that story is whether or not one person could have pulled off those shots.
I don't think it'd be done. I think the world's best marksman couldn't do it. I remember reading something about that.
No, it's
a hard shot.
It's a hard shot, but hard shots can be made. Hard shots can be made.
3 shots in that time period?
Depending upon how much he trained for it. I've known some people that are spectacular marksmen that can do some ridiculous shit and do it so fastly.
He wasn't.
He wasn't. But he was also trained. And depending upon how much training he did between his time in the service and his time actually getting ready to shoot Kennedy, you can get a lot better. I don't know how much training he did. I mean, you could take someone who's 3 years ago a terrible shot, and then they kill someone. You go, well, he couldn't have done it. He's a terrible shot. Look, 3 years ago he was a terrible shot. Well, if that guy was training that entire time, well, I don't think the rifle. Look, it can be done, but again, whether it's likely or not, that could be debated.
Anyway,
but it's the least ridiculous thing about that story.
Well, wait till you see the documentary.
I can't wait.
I think we pretty much proved that there's no chain of evidence on the rifle either.
Oh no, I'm sure. Did you read David Lifton's book, Best Evidence?
Years ago, yeah.
Yeah, that's what got me into the Kennedy assassination. Yeah. Somebody gave it to me, a friend of mine, a musician friend of mine, when I was on the road, and I read it, unfortunately, all day, right before my stand-up comedy shows that night, and I was so depressed.
Yeah.
I didn't think anything was funny, and I went on stage, I had a terrible show, and then I had to shake myself out of it for the second show, because I was bummed out. I was like, I had never considered it before. I'm like, Jesus Christ, they killed the president and they covered it up.